Okay, so hopefully you guys did well on your math test. The next step here is to go ahead and start your language arts lesson. So since I technically didn't see you today, we're going to be doing a screencast in replacement of our class. So obviously I'm going to want you to open up another tab. This presentation that you're looking at right here can be found on Google Classroom. So go ahead and pause the video, hop on over to Google Classroom. This assignment is called Budget Expense Chart. You'll have a copy of your own, so click right into it and then unpause this screencast and we'll get started. Okay, so we should have been able to find this presentation in Google Classroom by now. What we're going to do is go ahead and talk a little bit about this. This is the final step, our final, I guess, kind of new thing about our Trifolder 7 Wonder project. So this is our budget expense chart. Here's your prompt. Congrats, you've just been hired as the newest travel agent at an up-and-coming travel agency. You want to make a good first impression and have been asked by your boss to plan an important client's entire vacation at the destination of your choice. This client has a budget of $10,000 and would like to spend a weekend, 2 nights and 3 days, away on vacation. You need to get to work on planning the best vacation within their budget. Good luck. So I set down a couple directions and some steps to really help guide us through this process. Your first step is going to book your client's flight. I have already assigned a date for your trip, so June 3rd to June 5th is going to be the date that you're looking for, and I've also hyperlinked a website for you to go to. So I want you to go to Travelocity.com and find a flight from Cleveland to your destination. You'll notice below that I have 2 charts as part of this presentation. This first chart is going to be my example, so this is the one I'm going to be working on, and the second chart on slide 5, this is going to be your example, so you're going to be working on this one to complete. Okay, so what I'd like for you to do right now is where it says type your destination on slide 5, go ahead and type your destination in. Okay, remember you're on slide 5, my slide is on slide 4, so please don't type over the example. You want to go to the blank one. Okay? So once you've done that, let's go ahead and get started on finding a good flight. So you're going to just click right into the link that I have. If you want, you can just watch my example first, or you can listen and go through the steps. It's really up to you. Whatever works best is fine by me. Just make sure you know exactly what you're doing. So clicking on to this link, it's going to take you to Travelocity.com. Now, I've kind of toyed around with this website already, so it looks like it remembered that I was looking at a couple things. Your page should look like this as well, and it's going to say flight only. Okay, so you'll notice that there's a couple options. You want to make sure that you have the flight only option checked. Once you have that checked, you should also make sure you just have the round trip button checked. Okay, this is going to ensure that you have a plane ride there and back. If you do the one-way, you only have a one-way ticket, and that's not exactly what we're looking for. We're not leaving our clients stranded there. We want them to come back safe. So round trip is the way to go, flight only is the way to go. Now, if your destination is somewhere located in Ohio, you probably aren't going to want to fly there. That's probably not going to be the cheapest option for you. If that's the case, what I want you to do is come find me now, so you can pause your video or raise your hand, and I'll come on up and we can talk about a couple alternatives for you. You're most likely going to be driving or taking a bus though, and I'll show you what we can do in that case. But for the majority of you, you're probably going to want to find an airplane flight. So this is that step. We're flying from Cleveland, so if Cleveland's not already typed in there for you, if you start typing it, it should automatically bring down a Dropbox option. So I see that Cleveland, Ohio is my first option, which is exactly what I want, so I'm going to click on it. And it's going to take me to the Cleveland Hopkins International Airport, which is perfect. That's the starting point that I want all of you to start at. Now, the Trevi Fountain was my world wonder, the one that I selected, and that's located in Rome, Italy. So I already kind of have it here, but just for the sake of practice, I'll type in Rome once more so you can see the drop-down box. Now, depending on your location, some of you may have a couple options. So you'll notice for Rome, I have 2 airports. I have one that says near Rome, and then I have one that's actually in Rome. I'm going to go for the one that's actually in Rome, and this is the Leonardo da Vinci International Airport. So that's the one I'm going to click on. For adults, you should have 1 adult. It's just our client going on vacation, not his family, not friends, not anything like that. So just 1 adult. And our departing time is going to be June 3rd. So when you click on it, a calendar automatically shows up. You want to go through and click and find June. Once you find June, our departure date, so the day that we leave, is going to be the 3rd. So make sure you click the 3rd, which is a Friday. And our client is going to be returning back on Sunday, which is the 5th of June. So we're going to click that. Once you have everything set up the way mine looks as well, go ahead and hit search. And it's going to pull up all of the different flights from Cleveland to your destination. And you'll see that on the side here you have a little bar showing that it's calculating all these extra things like shortest flights and time and best price. So that'll start kind of calculating, and that'll start being inputted as well. So it looks like I'm finalized, and these are my best options. When you're looking for a flight, I don't want you to necessarily worry too much about the time of it. I want you to focus more so on the price of it. So you can go ahead and take your pick and see what price you like best. Maybe you want to go for one of the more expensive flights. That's your call. Remember, you do have a budget of $10,000. So as long as you're within your budget, you're good. You want to make sure this is going to show up probably for all of you. It's going to try to sweet talk you into doing a flight and a hotel together. Just disregard that. Only focus on the ones that have an actual price next to it. Okay? So when I'm looking at it, I see these are the airlines. I have a couple that I haven't heard of, probably because they're international ones, and I don't typically fly international. So Aer Lingus seems to be an Irish one. I can tell kind of by the clover and the dialect there. Air Canada, it's a Canadian one. United, I have multiple airlines, which means I have a connecting flight. It takes 3 hours, it looks like, and I have a layover. I have Delta, I have all these extra things. I have 2 stops. I'm probably going to avoid some of the ones further down because it's more expensive, and I have extra layovers. So I'm going to take a look at the top here. I'm probably going to go with United. It's going to cost me, it looks like, $1,754, but that's okay because I have a pretty large budget this time. So I'm going to hit select. So once you find a airline that you feel good about, you hit select. So that's going to be for your departure flight, for you flying there. Then it's going to take you to a second page. Now this is for your return trip back home, okay? So it'll say it at the top, select your return Cleveland Sunday at June 5th, on June 5th. So I'm going to take a look at this. They're relatively cheap, it looks like. I think I'm going to probably go with United once more, and I'm probably going to go with one of the earlier ones. So this one's $72, which isn't bad, so I'm going to select that one. It's going to say, do you want to add on extra stuff? No thanks, no deals this time. And then it should open up a new page to tell you your final total. So here's your trip summary. It says here that you have one ticket. It's a round trip, so it's telling you that you do have a flight back. And it said it's one of our shortest flights, which is always good. So it's not a long flight either, even though it's 14 hours, which is an awfully long day. So the flight itself was $1,187, but tax was like $639. So that's everything that you need to kind of consider when budgeting and planning for a vacation. So I'm just going to literally copy and paste this number. So let me make sure I get my cents in there. Once I have that copied, I'm going to go back to my chart. Remember, you're on slide 5, I'm on slide 4. So transportation, I'm taking an airplane. So that's my means of transportation. And I'm also going to put the airline that I'm going with. So you can kind of see here, this is the name of the airline that you're riding. So I'm riding with United. The price is where I'm going to paste that number. And I'm actually going to make these a little bigger. Here we go. I'm going to get rid of that odd background. And that's how much money I've spent thus far. So what I'm going to really do is I'm actually going to keep that number copied, and I'm going to go back to my calculator. I already had it up, and I'm just going to paste that number in. Oops, or not. I'll have to type it. So I'm doing $10,000 minus 1826. $10,000 minus, I think it was 1826.96. So minus 1826.96. So I have $8,173 left. So I'm going to put that in my next one. So 8173 point, let me get down to the cent here, 04. Okay, so that's my amount left over. So this is how much money I have left to spend. Now for the URL source, I want you to go back to where you were booking. So where it says review your trip, I want you to copy this URL, and that's exactly where you're going to be putting this source. Okay, it's going to be awfully lengthy, I know, but I want you to highlight it and then go ahead and choose the number 6 font. That way it's nice and teeny tiny so it doesn't mess too much with our parameters on a chart. Once you have that done, you can X out of this booking information for a flight. If you need to pause here to go through and do the same process that I just showed you, go right ahead. If you're ready to move on to hotels, keep on watching and we'll go ahead and get started here. Okay, so we should have our transportation portion of this completed. Next, we're going to talk about looking at hotels. So going back to my directions and referring to that, it says, your client will need a place to stay. Look up different hotels in the area of your destination and select the one that you think would be best. Remember, you're on a budget. You will need to check in on Friday, 6/3, and check out on Sunday, 6/5. So the best way to do this, I've come to find, is go ahead and open up a new tab. I'm going to switch my calculator around here. And since I'm looking for hotels in my area, I want to look for hotels in my city closest to my wonder destination. So if you're doing something like the Grand Canyon, you're going to want to figure out what city the Grand Canyon is in first, and then you're going to want to look for hotels. So I know the Trevi Fountain is probably not going to have a hotel like right there in front of it. So I know the Trevi Fountain's in Rome, so that's what I'm going to look up. Hotels in Rome, Italy. Now when I type that in, there's going to be all kinds of options that will pop up. So here it's going to show automatically some dates. I'm going to go ahead and input my dates. So my check-in date is June 3rd. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now because that'll really alleviate some of that stress later. And then for my checkout date, that's going to be June 5th, Sunday. And then this is going to show up. So now it shows me how much it's going to cost within those dates because dates kind of have a big impact on how much a hotel is going to cost. For example, if you go and take a vacation in the summer, like we are for this project, it's usually a little bit more expensive than if you took a vacation in the middle of the year because people have jobs and they go to school. So there's a lot of factors that come into play with that. So looking at that number, I can kind of see this one went up a whole lot. I think it came up originally at like $200. Now it's like $334. Now, it does have a lot of stars, which is great, but I also want to make sure that I'm being reasonably, not cheap, but reasonably aware of my budget, okay? So this price is the price of the hotel per night. So it's not how much it's going to cost total for my trip. This is just for one night. So please keep that in mind when you're choosing as well. That's going to be something that'll play a huge factor. So when I'm looking at it, I think this guy looks kind of cute, the Courtyard Rome Central Park. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And I want to go to the website of it. So $136 per night, not too bad. Stars 3.8, not too bad. It looks like it's close to a lot of things though, like the museums and the parks. So that's where I'm going to go. Now for check-in, remember I want to make sure that I have the right dates. So once I'm on the website for the hotel that I think I'm going to book, I want to go through and make sure I have the correct dates put in. So Friday the 3rd, and I'm checking out on Sunday the 5th. Oh, I'm going to put the 12th for the 5th. I just need one room. For guest room, I just need one, it's just me. I'm going to hit search now. And let's see what comes up for us. Oh, did I miss it? I don't think that's us. There we go. Okay, took me back to the same page, so let's try this one more time. Sorry for the hold up, guys. 3rd, June 5th. Oops. 2 nights. Check out. Search now. There we go. Okay.